Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for joining our presentation about part of grammar. Let me introduce myself. My name is Eliza Faradi Basale as moderator who will guide the course of this discussion. And in our group, there are Lilis, Mawaddah, Kamaria, Mifta, Hasriana, Israwati, Masnah, Hardianto, and fiqih. First, I will read what is grammar. In linguistics, grammar is the set of structural rules governing the composition of clauses, phrases, and words in a natural language. The term refers also to the study of such rules, and this field includes phonology, morphonology, and syntax, often complemented by phonetics, semantics, and pragmatics. However, we have not accounted for the fact that these words uh, can only be combined in a limited number of patterns. We recognize that the lucky boys is a well-formed parse in English, but that the following two parses are not at all well-formed. Okay, for the next topic about traditional grammar, that will be read by our friend Hardianto Askar. Time is yours.
Traditional grammar. Traditional grammar refers to the type of grammar study done prior to the beginnings of modern linguistics. Grammar in this traditional sense is the study of the structure and formation of words and sentences, usually without much reference to sound and meaning. In a more modern linguistic sense, grammar is the study of the entire interrelated system of structure, sounds, words, meaning, sentence within a language. Traditional grammar can be traced back over 2000 years and includes grammars from the classical period of Greece, India, and Rome, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the 18th and 19th century, and more modern times. The grammar created in this tradition reflect the prescriptive view that one dialect or variety of a language is to be valued more highly than others and should be the norm for all speakers of the language. Traditional grammar include prescriptive rules that are to be followed and prescriptive rules of usage to be avoided. When describing an emotion, use of an English word descended from Latin is preferred over an Anglo-Saxon word. Is an example of prescriptive rule, and never split and infinitive is an example of a prescriptive rule. I think it's all for me, and I return to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Hardianto. Next, about parts of speech will be read by Hasriana. Time is yours.
Okay, I'm going to explain about part of speech. Part of speech definition, synonym sentences, Spanish semantic properties, such as the noun, determiner, verb, adjective, adverb, complementizer, preposition, and conjunction. The definition of part of speech is a class of words based on the word's function, the way it works in a sentence. The parts of speech are noun. First is noun. A noun is a word that names something such as person, place, thing, or idea. In a sentence, nouns can play the role of subject, direct object, indirect object, subject complement, object complement, oppositive, or adjective. It is a noun or representing a living and inanimate object. Example: human, girl, river, boy, and the other. And also the names of animals, people, and place are also included in nouns. Second is adjective. adjective is a word used to express the nature of characteristic of something. It is generally used to describe what we capture by using sense, be it from voice, appearance, impression, taste, and smell. For example, tall, gorgeous, weak, handsome, kind, smell. Third is verbs. Are action words that tell what happens in a sentence. They can also show a sentence subject state of being, is or was. Verbs change from based on tense like present and past, and count distinction singular or plural. Example: sing, dance, believes, seemed, finish, eat, drink, be, and became. Next. Next is adverb. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, and even other adverbs. They specify when, where, how, and why something happened, and to what extent or how often. Examples: softly, lazily, often, only, hopefully, and sometimes. Next is preposition. Preposition shows spatial, temporal, and role relations between a noun or pronoun and the other words in a sentence. They become at the start of a prepositional phrase, which contains a preposition and its object. Example: up, over, against, by, for, into, close to, out of, and apart from. Next is conjunction. Conjunction join words, phrases, and clauses in a sentence. There are coordinating, subordinating, and correlative conjunctions. Example: and, but, or, so, yet, with. And the last is articles and determiners. Articles and determiners function like adjectives by modifying nouns, but they are different than adjectives in that they are necessary from a sentence to have proper syntax. Articles and determiners specify and identify nouns, and there are indefinite and definite articles. Example: articles an, the, and determiners: these, that, those, enough, much, few, which, and what. I think that's all. I return to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Anna, for the explanation. Next, about agreement will be read by Israwati. Time is yours.
Okay, agreement or concord happen when a word changes form depending on the other word to which it relates. It is an instant of inflection and usually involve making the value of some grammatical category, such as gender of person, agree between varied word or part of the sentence. In the addition to the term used for the part of speech, traditional grammatical analysis has also give us a number of other categories, including number, person, tense, voice, and gender. These categories can be discussed in isolation, but their role in describing language structure become clear when we consider term in terms of agreement. For example, we say that the verb love agree with the noun Katie in the sentence. Katie loved her dog. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isra. Next, about grammatical gender will be read by Kamaria. Time is yours. Okay, maybe because the network is problematic, so I took over. Grammatical gender, the influence or of grammatical gender on cognitive process in important issues in contemporary psycholinguistic and language psychology, particularly in research concerning the relation between grammar and semantics. The extent of this effect is depend on a given language, gender system, and its grammatical specific. The aim of the present research was to investigate grammatical gender effect in Polish, a Slavic language with 3 singular and 2 plural grammatical genders. In experiment 1, triadic similarity judgments were used, and it turned out of the grammatical gender of nouns influenced perceived similarity of words in case of animals. But now in an inanimate object or abstract concept. The type of biological distinctions used in English is quite different from the more common distinctions found in language that use grammatical gender. Whereas natural gender is based on sex, male and female. Grammatical gender is based on the type of noun, masculine and feminine, and is not tied to sex. In this latter sense, nouns are classified according to their gender class, and typically articles and adjectives have difference from to agree with the gender of the noun. Okay, next we move to the other title is Traditional Analysis, will be read by Lilis Handayani. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Traditional analysis. In traditional grammar books, tables such as the following were often presented for English verbs. Constructed by analogy with similar tables of forms in Latin grammars, the forms for the Latin verbs amar to love are listed on the right. Present tense and active voice. First person singular, I love a mole. Second person singular, you love Ahmad. Third person singular, she loved Ahmad. First person plural, we love Amamus. Second person plural, you love Amatis. And third person plural, they love Amant. Each of the Latin verbs form is different according to the categories of person and number, yet the English verb form are with one exception mostly the same. Thus it makes sense in describing a language such as Latin to have all those descriptive categories to characterize verb forms, but they don't really describe verb forms in English. I think that's all about traditional analysis, and I return to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lilis. We move to the other slide is about prescriptive approach. Will be read by Masnah.
The prescriptive approach. Linguistic takes a descriptive approach to language, which tries to explain things they actually are not as we wish them to be. When we study language descriptive, we try to find the extensions rules that the people follow when they say things like sentence. The school book approach to language is typical prescriptive. It tries to tell you how you shall speak and write. Notice that there is a place for both description and prescription in language study. For example, when adults learn foreign language and typically want someone to tell them how to speak, in other words, and to prescribe a particular set of rules to follow, and expect a teacher or book to set front those rules. But how the teacher not what rules to prescribe? At some point in time, someone had to describe the language and infer those rules. Prescription, in other words, can only occur after a language has been described, and good prescription depends on adequate description We obviously don't want to be teaching of people the wrong things about language. Okay, I think that's all. Moderator.
Okay, thank you, Masnah. Next about Captain Kirk's invite. Will be read by Mawaddah. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time. Captain Quick's infinitive. The infinitive in English has the form to plus the base form of the verb, as in to go, and can be used with an adverb such as boldly. At the beginning of each television Star Trek episode, one of the main characters, Captain Kirk, always used the expression to boldly go. This is an example of a split infinitive. Captain Kurt's teacher might have expected him to say to go boldly or boldly to go, so that the adverb didn't split the infinitive. If Captain Kurt has been a Roman speech traveler speaking Latin, he would have used the expression "I to go," an educator boldly. Now, in saying "I educated" in Latin, Capitanus Curtius would not even have the opportunity to split his infinitive "ire." Because Latin infinitives are single words and just do not split, it would be very appropriate in Latin grammar to say you cannot split an infinitive. But is it appropriate to carry this idea over to English where the infinitive form does not consist of a single word but of two words, to and go? If it is a typical feature of the use of English, the speakers and writers regularly produce forms such as to boldly go, to solemnly swear, or to never ever say goodbye. Then we may simply wish to know that there are structures in English that differ from those found in Latin, rather than think of the English form as bad because they are breaking a rule of Latin grammar.
Okay, that's explanation from Mawaddah. We move to other slide about structural analysis. Will be read by Mawaddah again. Time is yours.
Thank you. I will continue the material. Structural analysis. Structural analysis is the process of breaking words down into their basic parts to determine word meaning. Structural analysis is a powerful vocabulary tool since knowledge of a few words parts can give you clues to the meanings of a large number of words. Although the meaning suggested by the word parts may not be exact, this process can often help you understand the word well enough that you can continue reading without significant interruption. When using structural analysis, the reader breaks words down into their basic parts. Prefix, word, part located at the beginning of a word to change meaning. Root, the basic meaningful part of a word. Suffixes, or parts attached to the end of a word. Suffixes often alter the part of a speech of the word. For example, the word "bicyclist" can be broken down as follows: B. Prefix meaning to, cycle; root meaning wheel; is a noun; suffix meaning a person who. Therefore, structural analysis suggests that a bicyclist is a person one two wheels, a meaning which is close to the word's formal definition.
Okay, that's from Mawaddah. Thank you. Next, about constituent analysis will be read by Mifta. Time is yours.
Okay, thanks for the time. Well, I'm going to explain about constituent analysis. Constituent analysis, immediate constituent analysis, also called IC analysis. In linguistics, a system of grammatical analysis that divides sentence into successive layers of constituent until in the final layer, each constituent consists of only a word of meanings part of a word. A constituent is any word or construction that enters into some larger construction. The technique employed in this approach is designed to show how small constituent or components in sentence go together to form larger constituent. One basic step is determining how words go together to form phrase. An old man brought a shotgun to the wedding. An old man is non-praise. Brought a shotgun is for praise. And to the wedding is prepositional praise. Next.
Yes,
Okay, this analysis of constituent structure of the sentence can be represented in different types of diagrams. And everyone can see the diagram on your screen. I think that's all for me. Thank you. I turn to the moderator.
okay, thank you, Mifta, for the explanation. Next slide about labeled and bracket sentence and glottic sentence will be read by Vicky. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the hello. Thank you for the chance. I will continue the explanation. Label on bracket sentence. Label and bracket sentence is a representation of the constituent structure of a string as a word or sentence, comparable to a tree diagram in which each constituent is shown in brackets and give a subscript grammatical label, with each bracket item corresponding to a node in a tree diagram. An alternative type of diagram is designed to show how the constituent in sentence structure can be marked off by using label bracket. The first step is to put bracket on one on each side round each constituent and then more bracket round each combination of constituent. Okay, next. Here is the example. The dog loved the girl. With this procedure, the different constituents of the sentence are shown at the word level. The or dog. At the press level, the dog or loved the girl. And at the sentence level, the dog loved the girl. We can then label each constituent using these abbreviated grammatical terms. Art for article, V for verb, noun, N for noun, B for verb phrases, and B noun phrase, S for sentence. Okay. And let's move into Gaelic sentences. Gaelic sentences can seem very confusing when an English speaker first starts looking at them. A lot of that is because Gaelic sentences have a very different order than English sentences. Here is sentence from Scottish Gaelic, which would be translated as the boy saw the black dog. You can reach the translated of the Scottish Gaelic, guys. Just look at the example. Maybe that's all my explanation. I turn back to moderator.
Okay, thank you. That was the explanation from our group. For questions, each group gives one question for our group. Starting from the first group, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for change. My question is about function of grammatical gender. Thanks.
That's the question.
Yes, itu. That's the question from my group.
Okay, wait. Mifta? Mifta Hilmi? Mifta Hilmi wanna answer the question from group 1. Time is yours, Mifta. Your connection.
Hello?
Hello, I took over or you wanna continue?
Yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. Continue.
Okay. Thank you. I will answer a question from Sister Alia from group 1. The question is, what are the function of grammatical gender? The answer is, in linguistics, grammatical gender is a specific form of noun class system in which the division of noun classes forms an agreement system with another aspect of the language, such as adjectives, articles, pronouns, or verbs. Many people don't really know about gender in adjective or noun in English. They know that they exist, but if we want to improve yourself, we need to pay more attention to this small thing. It can make so much difference if we know about it. I think the main function of grammatical gender is make makes English will look better. I think that's all for me. I turn to the moderator.
Okay, how about group 1?
Okay, thanks for the answer, and I got it.
Okay, next group, the questions.
Okay, my question, yes, is what is definition of agreement in gender?
Okay, Anna Hasriana wanna answer that questions. Time is yours.
Okay, I'm going to answer the question from group 3. That is the definition of agreement in gender. Okay, the definition of agreement in gender is not an issue with third person plural pronouns, since the plural pronoun they and its forms, that is them or and their, are gender inclusive. They automatically agree with intent antecedents of any gender. I think that is the definition of agreement in gender. I return to the moderator.
Okay, how about group 3?
Okay, thank you for your answer. I agree.
Okay, for the next group, time is yours.
How to specific prefix, word, and suffix in a sentence.
Okay, wait. Okay, I think that question will be answered by lilis handayani. Time is yours.
Okay, so prefix. First is prefix. When a group of letters having a special meaning appears at the beginning of a word, we call the group of letters is a prefix. Next is roots. Word roots are the words from other language. They are the origin of many English words. And the last is suffix. A group of letters with a special meaning appearing at the end of a word is called a suffix. That's all my answer. Thank you.
How about Safira?
I think, okay, thank you.
All right. For the next group 5.
Thank you for the opportunity. And then question from group 5 to group 1 is, why in grammatical gender there are a term masculine and feminine? How to distinguish the thing that masculine and feminine?
Okay, thank you for questions. So that question will be answered by Vicky. Time is yours, Vicky.
Okay, I will. Thank you. I will answer in the question. Anyway, English it doesn't really have grammatical gender as many other languages do. It doesn't have masculine or feminine nouns unless they refer to biological sex. For example, woman, man, boy, girl, Mr. or etc. So gender language is commonly understood as language that has bias toward a particular sex or social gender. In English, this would include using gender-specific terms referring to professions or people, such as businessman or waitress, or using the masculine pronouns. It's like he, him, his, to refer to refer people in general. Uh, for example, a doctor should know how to communicate with his patients. So there is benefit um, why in grammatical gender there is a term masculine and feminine in grammatical gender. This type of language is no longer acceptable in many sectors of society. So learner should be taught how to avoid it. It's not accepted in academia, research, publishing, and many business contexts. All sectors that learners are often involved in involved in or will be once they have left school or university. It also needs to be taught because many learners' mother tongues are grammatically gendered language, saying something like a doctor should know how to communicate with his patients may be perfectly acceptable grammatically for these learners because in their own language, doctor is probably masculine from from a grammatical perspective. And then how to distinguish the thing that masculine and feminine. Gender language is generally it's not difficult to spot or to reveal. However, there are some examples which people may not have considered before. The most obvious is the use of language that has a bias toward one of the sexes. It's usually male. For gender natural concept in many as in my earlier, earlier example, where a gender natural subject, a doctor, is assigned a masculine pronoun, his patient. This also include job titles that are gender specific, such as policeman or policewoman, when there is no need to specify the sex of the person. That's why nowadays we tend to have gender neutral terms for profession. In this context, we would use police officer. Maybe that's all my explanation about gender language. Thank you for the question. I give it back to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. How about group 5?
Okay, thank you for your answer and nice answer.
Okay, thank you very much for your great attentions, ladies and gentlemen. May all this we have shared be beneficial for all of us.